There was a car dealer who asked, tongue-in-cheek, "Father, is it possible to be a used car dealer and a good Christian?" That is the question of today's ambiguous gospel. This parable seems to approve of the shady business dealings of the steward, and it even proposes him as a model for Christians. Some scripture scholars hold that the steward was not doing anything wrong. He was simply subtracting his own commission from each of the debts. He was letting the debtors have their merchandise wholesale. He gave up his personal profits to gain the good favor of his clients. But most scripture scholars disagree. They insist that the steward was dishonest. The parable, they say, is not approving of his dishonesty. It is praising only his clever initiative. We might have difficulty separating his dishonesty from his ingenuity, but the Semitic culture of the Gospel times apparently did not. All commentators agree on the message of the parable. We should be as inventive spiritually as we are materially. Too often we are not. The central verse of this gospel is, "The children of this world are more prudent in dealing with their own generation than are the children of light." The obvious meaning of that verse is that unbelievers are more diligent in their material dealings than Christians are in spiritual matters. Terrorists, for example, are more inventive in their scheming than our technicians are in our security. Abortion advocates are more imaginative than pro-life activists. The unscrupulous in business are daring. Honest merchants are dull. In sum, pagans are better at being pagan than Christians are at being Christian. That is a valid understanding of this gospel. But there is also a more direct personal application. The comparison should be not only between pagans and Christians, it should be addressed to the secular ingenuity within each one of us. Do we develop our spiritual life as well as we manage our material business? For example, most of us in this parish are efficient. We are good planners, good shoppers, good organizers. We spend our time, our resources, and our money wisely. Otherwise, why would we be living in this area? Are we as prudent and persistent in allotting time for daily prayer? Most people consider themselves, or most men consider themselves to be quite good at fixing things. They can repair many things that are broken. Are they equally adept in repairing the broken spirit of their family or restoring the damaged parts of their own spiritual life? Most women pride themselves on their good taste in style and homemaking. They dress attractively and they decorate tastefully. Are they equally creative in cultivating Christian virtues, charity, forgiveness, patience? Whatever your trade, whether a butcher or a baker, or a computer technician or an accountant, you pride yourself on the quality of your work. The gospel is asking if you have the same dedication to the values and virtues of your Christian life. Every priest knows that it is much easier to manage the parish than it is to marshal the parish conscience. It is much easier to schedule meetings than to write sermons. Much easier to organize activities than to energize souls. The gospel suggests that the worldly part of me is better at dealing with the material part of my life than the spiritual part of me is dealing with my inner spirit. Too many of us are professional workers, but amateur Christians. Active in our career, passive in our Christianity. Full-time craftsmen, part-time Christians. The car dealer asked, "Is it possible to be a used car dealer and a good Christian?" The gospel asks him, "Are you as good at being a Christian as you are at selling cars?"